ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I think we did the 26th verse last time.
27th, Swamiji.
Okay, to go back on
Finished
26, 27, one
Yeah.
point I want to make in this. We have done that. Now, actually speaking, 26, 27 verses are also arguments borrowed from Buddhism. Okay. Because 26th verse saying there is no contact with the external objects. Okay. Chittam na sparshayati artham. Now this is purely based on the Kshanika Vijnanavada. They are subjectivists, meaning everything is inside, there is nothing outside. So if there is nothing outside, there is only cognitions. Cognitions are taken as real and projected as though they are outside. This is the argument, okay, of the Kshanika Vijnanavada. In a modified manner, Gaudapada uses it. Why? Because any argument that helps you understand Vedanta is fine. Like how I use argument from science. We are not trying to make Vedanta scientific, but just because we are using a couple of arguments from science. But we are using some arguments from science to explain Vedanta. Similarly, Gaudapada uses some arguments from Buddhism to expound Vedanta. Because of which some people used to call him a hidden Buddhist. Gauda Buddha. Gauda Buddha, hidden Buddhist, which is not true. He is completely Advaitin in that. But hey, if there is a current argument in the society and that helps you understand Vedanta, use it. Where is the problem in it? There is no problem in using any argument to help understanding of Vedanta. Upayaha sarva evete. We have seen that earlier. These are all upayas to make you understand. Upaya tu avataraya, he said. For you to understand Vedanta, upayas. So you can use any argument. As long as it has got some logical validity, use it. No issues. Okay. So that 26th argument is actually from the subjectivists, the Kshanika Vijnanavada. Okay. On the footnote he has mentioned Anyatha Khyati. Okay. What is Anyatha Khyati? Those who have been doing Chatusutri recently. Okay. This Sunday Dayananda is going to sum up the whole thing. Okay. To mistake something as something else, something that you have seen before, elsewhere. Therefore both the perceptions are real. There is no false perception. You are seeing something and remembering. One is a perception and triggering of memory, and you are seeing something else. So both perceptions are real. So in this question they come up, because both perceptions are real. Tell me, to make a mistake of a snake on the rope, should you have seen a real snake before?
No, Swamiji.
Even a snake that you see on the TV is good enough. No? So that means what? Purva Drishtam. It need not mean that Purva Drishtam has to be real.
Yes.
Otherwise we will say this world is like what you have seen before, therefore the previous world should have been real, even though this world is mithya. No, the previous world is equally mithya as this world. Okay, so that is just one or two nuances of 26, 27. Any questions before we go ahead? or it's clear?
Swamiji, I'm a little bit lost in this one.
Yeah.
Could you give one more example of this?
Okay. When you
This
say,
Anyatha Khyati.
let us look at the theory of error. Don't go into the details of different Khyatis now, but the theory of error itself. This is what sets up Vedanta separate from everything else. That the whole world is an adhyasa. Adhyasa means erroneous perception. What is adhyasa? Atasmin tad buddhi, in a nutshell. To think of that in something which is not that. To think of that snake in something which is not a snake, a rope. And whatever you are imposing, the snake is not memory. Why? You are not seeing the rope and remembering the snake. You are not seeing the rope at all, you are only seeing the snake. Therefore, it's possible only if it is seen before. Purva drishtam it has to be. Unless you have seen a snake before, you will never be able to mistake a rope for a snake. Number one. Then the question comes up, is the previous snake that you have seen, does it have to be real? No, even a photograph of a snake is enough for you to mistake that to be on this rope. Photograph, picture, etc., TV, enough to make that mistake. Why? Because Purva Drishtam. Why is this important? You are seeing a world, which in terms of Vedanta is adhyasa, not true. There is only consciousness. On consciousness you imposed a world. How is that possible? Purva Drishtam. You have seen it before. Why? Previous cycle of creation. Previous lifetime, previous cycle of creation. So, does that have to be real? No, that can be equally unreal. Like the picture of the snake that you saw, you are imposing it on the rope. Similarly, the unreal creation you saw earlier, you are imposing it on as this creation. So that argument becomes important. Otherwise, the previous one will become real. Yeah. Yeah, Panjabakesh.
Yeah, otherwise, no one will mistake a ghost as a ghost.
Yeah.
Because Purva Drishyam, ghost no one has seen.
No one has seen a ghost.
So,
I mean, very few people would have seen a ghost. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
correct.
I can't say nobody.
Anyone like us
Yeah.
taking a pose as a ghost,
Yeah.
it's not feasible at all.
Yeah. So an imagination also is good enough.
That's correct.
An imaginative figure.
What you have read, what you have seen in a film.
Yeah.
So those things come in.
Movie or a description in a book. Even that is good enough for you to visualize. A concept that you should have known before. Put it that way. That is why he says, in the definition in the Adhyasa Bhasha, he says, Smriti Rupaha. Where it has to be taken as Smriti Tulyaha. Equal to a Smriti. Meaning of the same nature as a memory. Meaning purely mental. Purely conceptual. Okay. So the whole world is an Adhyasa. But the subjectivist dismisses it by saying there is nothing inside, outside, everything is inside. So there is a joke on this. Two Buddhists are arguing whether the world is inside or outside. And a Zen master is passing by. Zen is also Buddhism, but very pragmatic thing, and people come close to Vedanta. So they say, "Sir, can you help us resolve this issue?" So the Zen master asks, "Do you see that stone lying there?" "Yeah. Is that inside you or outside you?" "Well, according to our theory, it has to be inside us." So the Zen master says, "Not a wonder you can't understand anything because there's a huge rock sitting in your mind." Okay. Because functionally speaking, there is something inside outside. as far as your body and mind is concerned, you can have the understanding of inside outside. As far as consciousness is concerned, is it inside outside?
Everywhere. No?
Consciousness is everywhere, but is the world inside consciousness or outside consciousness?
Inside.
It cannot be outside.
Yes.
It is
Yes,
neither
conscious.
inside or outside because it is a different degree of reality. It's superimposed on the consciousness. That's why we call it adhyasa. It is superimposed on the consciousness.
Adhyasa.
Yeah, that's why the whole thing. That means what you are saying is, again in Vedanta there are digressing a bit, but it's important here at this stage. I think I said it before here. Srishti drishti and drishti srishti. Srishti drishti. Srishtasya drishti. Srishtam, what is created by Bhagavan, by Ishvara, etc. Tasya drishti. Viewing that. This is what happens to all of us now. I have not created the sun and the moon and the stars, but I am seeing it. I have not created this table, but I am seeing it. Therefore, we will take all this as srishti drishti. But if it is adhyasa, really speaking, it has to be drishti srishti. Drishti eva srishti. You seeing it is the creation. Like the rope snake, you seeing it is the creation.
Or can it be in the dream, Swamiji?
Dream also, same thing. You see it is there because your seeing itself is the creation of the entity. Your dream, you seeing the dream is the creation of the dream. You seeing the snake is the creation of the snake. Therefore, drishtihi eva srishti. Now, generally we'll explain. From Ishvara's standpoint, the whole creation is what?
Nitya.
Srishta drishti or drishti srishti?
Drishta Srishti.
Drishti eva srishti. He is seeing it, it is there. From our standpoint, what will be?
Srishta Drishti.
Srishta se drishti. This is a normal way of explaining it. Okay? But the aspect of drishti srishti is applicable even in Vyavahara for all of us. You would never see a thing unless the concept is there in your mind. Everything that you call physical outside was a concept in somebody's mind. This kurta was a concept in somebody's mind. Previously, you just used to wear an upper cloth. But in North India, it was cold. To wear only an upper cloth is very cold because air will get in from everywhere, cold air. So they cut it into something which is more practical for the cold. But they conceived of it. Create a structure where we will cover the body without air able to get in from everywhere. Concept made outside. And when you see it, what is it? Oh. How are you recognizing a kurta as different from a shirt? Because the concept of shirt and kurta exists in your mind. Therefore, what in that from that standpoint, it is drishti srishti. Are you understanding this? Drishti eva srishti. If that concept was not there in your mind, you will not recognize what it is. Sometimes people think I like to tell stories, but my stories illustrate a point. You remember that story I told of the foreigner wanting to come and the American who wanted to have an Indian meal in India, and how I took him to a Maharashtrian house, and they had kept a part there for him to sit down, but he sat on the opposite side thinking this was a table. So you eat on very low tables. Why? Why did he mistake that as a table and not as a pot? Because the idea of pot is not there. The concept of pot is not there in the American culture. Therefore, he didn't recognize it. Concept of table is there. Therefore, he mistook this to be a table. Are you seeing what I am trying to highlight? Drishti, Srishti. To an extent, it is valid even for us. Not completely like how it is valid for Ishvara, but all creation is because conceptual. At the level of quantum physics, it becomes purely conceptual. You conceive of a element mathematically, of a particle, and then you create condition and you will see that particle. Split second only. Because you have mathematically conceived it, created a condition for it to manifest, it manifested. You say, oh, this particle exists. It exists only because you saw it. Drishti eva srishti. Because it didn't exist in that form in nature. You have to create a special condition for it. Are you understanding what I am trying to tell you?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah. Important. Bulmaja.
So, Swamiji, in our field, when we see something, they say the eye sees what the mind knows.
Yeah.
Is it something similar?
Yeah.
Like
Because
you will not see what
you can see only what the mind knows. Exactly. The example I usually give for that, see, I stick with examples. Not because I can't be creative and use fresh examples, but I want you to peg. When I use an example, you know what the point is. The example I usually use for this is what? Medical example. Bhul gaya sab jan.
No, that anemic girl.
Ah, exactly. I look at a girl walking in and says, what a fair girl. The doctor looks at the same girl and says, what an anemic girl. Your eyes can see only what your mind knows. It's the same way, no? Yeah. So the whole thing is on this line only, nothing else. So there is no real physical creation, etc. Okay, it's just purely conceptual. Purely conceptual. Or at the most, you can say experiential, anubhava siddham, maximum. Like the flat earth exists only because you experience it, because you see it. Is it really flat? The blue sky exists only because you see it. Well, you can give scientific reasons. They are trying to explain away your experience, that's all, which is good. But it exists only because you see it. No?
Is it okay to say that the creation is nothing but a summary of your conclusions,
Yeah.
the decisions?
Yeah, it
taken?
is true. And when you are thinking in terms of what you make out of the creation, 1 second, Karthik. You know what you make out of the creation? Social structures, relationship structures, aren't they purely conceptual? Especially the older generation. Some girl somewhere, some guy somewhere. You met under controlled conditions. What? There's no meeting. You're only looking at each other. Acceptable for you, the girl or the boy? What do you know about the girl and boy? Nothing, you just seen. Meaning there's nothing objectionable in the appearance. That's all you have seen. And then you went round and round the fire and called yourself married. No, it's proper Vedic marriage. Did you understand any of the mantras that were chanted? People here, older generation who are married, did you really understand any of the mantras that were chanted? Yeah. But from now on we are husband and wife. Now you know why your children say, we don't believe in marriage. Conceptual, isn't it? A construct that you create, that's it. Because of this we are married. I can look upon it as something sacred. Yes, Agni Samyoge, etc. with Agni as a witness, Bhagavan as a witness, society as a witness, all that fine. I can take it as sacred. Or I can be dismissive about it. You went round and round the mulberry bush. What are you talking about? You went and round the way and say, now we are married. Yeah. क्या बात है? Both ways you can look at it, okay? Both are conceptual. Yeah, Karthik, you have a question.
So, Swamiji, my question is that what is different between Drishti Srishtivada and the example of the Zen Buddhist? I'm slightly confused about the difference.
I took that to take off. According to Zen Buddhists, I mean not Zen Buddhists, according to the Vijnanavadins, everything is inside.
Yes.
Everything is inside. Whereas we accept that inside outside for Vyavahara. We accept that inside outside. And still say, now having accepted inside outside, we are talking about Drishti Srishti or Srishti Drishti. For all practical purposes, Srishti Drishti. Srishti eva Drishti. You are seeing what is already created. Srishtasya Drishti. This is practical. But at this level, you also have to understand it's all conceptual. Drishti Srishti not as how Ishvara uses it, not like how rope snake, but as being purely conceptual. That much one has to accept. That's where I took off. Drishti Srishti is a subjective reality. But then the question is, because of a cultural construct, we all accept certain things as same. Like table is table for everyone. Therefore, even though it's subjective, it is accepted across the board. Therefore, it gains some sort of objectivity. But just because the concept is same for everyone doesn't make it true. There is a time when the concept of flat earth was universal, except in India. If you look at our Varaha, etc., is always shown as Bhu Golam. The Upanishad mentioned Bhu as Golaha. But across Europe, the idea was that earth is flat. But that didn't make it flat. But it was a universal concept at that time. I mean, we will laugh. Christopher Columbus actually drew his pistol and held it till the helmsman had, keep it straight, you are going to go straight, no shifting. Captain, will fall off the end of the earth. End of the earth has not yet come, but my bullet will get you before that. Keep it straight. And he kept going, came, end of the earth didn't come. He landed up in West Indies. He thought he landed up in India. Can you imagine the fear of the part? Sailors don't get scared very easily, okay? We sailed the 7 seas, we've seen the storms and all. You don't get scared easily on things. But even that guy was scared about falling off the end of the earth. Purely conceptual, the whole fear was like that, based on that. So in all these, the world that we in, as far as Vyavahara is concerned.
Swamiji, I had a question.
Yeah.
Swamiji, we started the class with like the previous memory, like if you have not seen the snake before any time. How does it apply to creation? Like none of us have seen creation.
Previous lifetime, previous kalpa.
So anadi means
Anadi, exactly.
Point. Yeah, anadi.
And anadi we have seen established mithyatva. The very idea of anadi means mithya. We have seen that in the same Mandukya Karika. So as far as Vyavahara is concerned, what is fact? Yeah, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, the base, fact. Other than that, what is fact? It's only a perception of certain things. At the most, you can say the data that your senses give you is fact. At the most. But that also can be subjective, can be mistaken. So, what is fact? There is no fact in Vyavahara, there are only concepts. You can argue about right and wrong endlessly. At the most, you can say for Vyavahara, there are some functionally what we accept as facts. Yeah, gravity is a fact. I won't jump out of the window from my 7th floor apartment. But other than that, what is it that you are going to take as fact? Look at how these concepts work. See, why am I saying all this? Not because I like to talk, okay? It's because I want you all to understand the mithyatvam of the thing. What is the shortest distance between 2 points? Straight line?
Straight line.
Straight line. Not when you are flying from Bombay to New York, direct flight. It's a curved path, is shorter. Why? Straight line will be closer to the equator, it will be longer. Whereas if you curve it a bit to the north, it will be shorter. So straight line is the shortest point, depends on what? A flat earth model. It is useful for measuring a cricket pitch or something like that, or putting up a building. But not more than that.
It is in a single plane, it is short. That's all.
Exactly.
Not in a 3-dimensional.
Yeah. When you are reducing it to 2 dimensions, fine. Not otherwise. So, there is where the whole thing is. Can you see the mithyatvam right here? All this. Now I can imagine, you'll say, oh, Swamiji, we are talking all about scientific facts. Through that scientific facts, can you see the mithyatvam? Otherwise, you and I are wasting our time here. The so-called scientific fact, when you look at it, happens to be mithya. Scientific fact for Vyavahara, that's it. Vyavahara yogyatvam is there, nothing more than that. Makes life useful, makes life comfortable, makes life dangerous also. Diwali crackers, very bad for the environment. Correct, I accept. And what is happening when you have a war between Iran and US? All the bombs are releasing pure oxygen out. When there is an explosion happening, oxygen is being released to the atmosphere. One day of that war will take care of the whole Diwali season. So our criticism of certain things, our appreciation of some things, all based on concepts only, isn't it? So we should not. We should break more crackers. It is Deepavali. It's a festival of lights, not necessarily crackers. Okay. Understand the principle behind it also. Deepavali. Not Shabdavali, all noise. Deepa, lights. Anyway, that apart. So clear about this two verses, the Mithyatvam of it also? Okay, and let's go ahead. तस्मात् न जायते चित्तम चिद्दृश्यम न जायते तस्य पश्यन्ति ये जातिम स वै पश्यन्तिम तपादम ते पदम तस्मात् न जायते चित्तम. Therefore, chittam, the consciousness, is not born into this world, not create out of that. It has not created this world. Okay. Chitta drishyam na jayate. Even what is seen by the manifested consciousness is not really born. It's a manifestation, not really born. They are conceptual. It says, tasya pashyanti ye jatim. Therefore, one who sees the birth of the consciousness, what is that? Te vai pashyati te padam. Te vai, ke vai pashyanti te padam. They are saying footprints on the sky. What is the path of the consciousness? The footprints of the birds in the sky. What footprints? No footprints. Therefore, if you are saying that the consciousness is born as something else, has modified into something else, it is like saying there are footprints in the sky. Meaning, you are asserting something which is not true. That's the whole idea. You are asserting something which is not true. But Swamiji, what about all the navigation of the birds? Anticipating Brihaspati like questions. You know, where all the birds navigate using magnetic field, etc. Yeah, they navigate using magnetic field. They sense it in their brain without the necessity of a compass, etc., etc., etc. But do you say there is a track in the sky for that? Magnetic track. Magnetic track is in the sky, it is on the earth, it's right here around us. There is no track left in the sky. It's not a pathway in the sky. Okay. It's a sense of direction that you have. It's not a pathway. So here he's talking about that. Meaning something that is not true. You are asserting something that is not true. Okay. Then he says, why not? Let us say consciousness is born. What is the problem? Ajatam jayate yasma jati prakrtista tata prakrtehi anyatha bhava na kinchit bhavishyati. Says ajatam jayate yasma. Let us imagine. You are saying ajatam. What happens if it is born? It was ajatam once upon a time. Abhi to it is born. That means what? He says, Yasmat ajatim prakrtistata. If ajati, meaning not being under the hold of time, is prakriti, it is its swarupa, its true nature, then he says, prakritehe anyatha bhavaha. The change of the true nature, na katanchit bhavishyati. He has said this before also. The true nature of a thing cannot be given up if the thing has to continue as the thing. Fire is hot. Combustion is fire. So fire is hot. Now, can fire give up its nature of heat and remain fire?
Cold.
Cold fire is not fire. It's a chemical composition. It's an illusion created by science, helping magicians to create the thing that they cannot be burnt, etc.
Swarupam cannot be changed.
Swarupasya parityaga na kartinchad bhavishyati. If it gives up its Swarupa, it is no more the same thing. That is why the idea of Vikara and Vivarta has come up in later Vedanta. What is Vivarta? So Swarupa aparityagena rupantarapatti. Without giving up its nature, it appears as something else. Like rope and snake. Then what is Vikara? So Swarupa parityagena rupantarapatti. Giving up its nature, it becomes something else. Then it becomes something else. You had milk. You made it into curds. Now can you get the milk back? Right, it came from curds that come from milk, na? So when you are making coffee, you take a spoonful of curds and put it into the coffee. What will happen? It will not be coffee. It will be something you go and drink. So the same way. Rupantarapatti means it has not become the same thing again. It has changed. So let it happen. Let Brahman change to become the universe. Hey, if it is unconditioned by time, it cannot undergo a change. If it is conditioned by time, it is not Brahman. If it is unconditioned by time, it cannot change to become the world. Therefore what? Therefore world is a manifestation. World is an appearance. Yeah, because it can't change. But you still see it. Appearance. Samji, it is not appearance. Why do you think it is not appearance? As long as you are stuck in the idea I am the body and mind, you will not get it. Why? Because you are caught up in the eye is lost, as Puja Swamiji used to say, the eye is lost in the folds of the stomach. So if the eye is in the stomach, where are you going to see yourself as independent of the whole thing? You can't. This Swamiji, Drigdrishya Viveka, I am not body-mind, etc. Really? Why are you cribbing so much of the heat then? It's hot. Yeah, it's hot. Big deal. Swamiji, how can you walk in the afternoon? Why not? So hot. Yeah, it's so hot. So what? You know, right now when you are cribbing about the heat in Bombay, construction work is going on in Dubai and UAE and all that. Imagine how hot it will be there. And people are working under the sun, construction workers. And here you say, I am not the body, but it is too hot. Cribbing. Yeah, it's hot. Recognize fact and let it be. It's hot. You can do something about it, do something about it. Put on the fan, put on the AC, whatever. Fine. No, not necessary. Not necessary. Yeah. Why is this tapas necessary? Tapas helps you understand I am not the body, mind, etc. I am not my conditionings, cultural, religious, etc. So step out of your comfort zone, important. That much is important. Because otherwise you get stuck in that whole thing. See, it is nice to have a culture and a cultural background. as long as it's not a conditional. Otherwise, you'll be like this girl I knew. We went for a Marwari wedding party. Can you imagine what a Marwari wedding party will be like? Wedding lunch. You are stuffed. And then stuffed again. Okay. And then comes back to the place where we are staying, saying, I have to have some curds. Otherwise, I don't feel I have eaten. You are stuffed. All the puri, sabji, rice, biryani, this, that, all has gone into you. Plus half a dozen gulab jamuns have gone into you. And you are feeling you are not eaten because you have not taken some curds. And I am supposed to teach that person, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, you are not the body, etc. Kidhar se? Yeah, I like to have curds with my meal. Fine. I like to finish my words with some curds. Good. Acha hai. Fine. That's a cultural thing. But the other thing, I don't feel I've eaten it. That's a conditioning. That's a conditioning. You can't even drop that conditioning. What are you going to talk about Vedanta? Tell me. I'm not the body. Verbal. You're saying it. You have to see yourself as I'm not the body. You experience the world through the body. You're not the body. You're not your mind. That means your emotional reality is all bunkum. Okay? Go. It's subjective. But I feel like that. I feel. But my feelings are valid. Yeah. I usually validate people's feelings when they come to me one-on-one. I do. But take a stand like this and see how it feels. Yeah, that is true. It's all bunker. Then you're fine. You're on track. But knowledge is important. No? All knowledge is also mithya. Which knowledge is Satyam? No, but I'm passionate about it. You're passionate about some mithya thing? What are you passionate about? The snake? A concept? An idea? The only people who don't have ideological conditions are our politicians. Anyone will join with anyone to get the print. People wondering, how can ADMK and DMK come together? Because there is no ideological difference. The split happened because of pure personal issues. But I think Vijay beat them to it. He's got all the communists, etc. Now what does the communists and the Congress together have with Vijay? Any ideological this? So at least ideological conditionings they don't have. But they have another conditioning, anything for a seat. But Swamiji, you also take a stand on certain things. I do. Vyavahara drishtya eva. That's it. So, get that thing clear, okay? All this will become clear only when that is this thing. Okay. Then he goes further, same idea. Think, yeah. Oh yeah, we have 10 minutes more. Anadehe anantatvam cha samsarasya na satyati anantata cha adimata mokshasya na bhavishyati. Anadehe, creation is beginningless, anadi. If it is really anadihi, it will become anantam also. What have you heard when you started studying Vedanta? World is anadi, avidya is anadi, but it's got an end. Bluff, not logical. If it's anadi, either it is not conditioned by time. If it is not conditioned by time, anantam is also not there. If you are saying it is anadi, but ananta, has an antam, then it is mithya. It cannot be satya. Anadi itself, that's why I said, anadi itself establishes mithyatvam. Therefore, anadehi anantatvam cha samsarasna satya sati. If samsara, the world that you see, is anadi anantam, then what will happen? Anantata cha adimataha mokshasya na bhavishyati. Then how can moksha start? Because if the world is anadi and anantam, that means it's satyam, it's abhaditam. If the world is abhaditam, my finitude is also abhaditam. Anirmoksha prasanga. There will be no moksha for me because the world is real. If the world is real, I am finite is equally real. And if I am finite, how can I even desire moksha? You can't even have a desire for moksha. If finitude is real, you wouldn't have a desire for it. You won't have an urge for moksha. Why? Because if that's your true nature, you are happy with it. No? Are you concerned? Even certain uncomfortable thing. Hunger is not comfortable, no? What to do, yaar? 8 baje breakfast khaya. 8 o'clock I had breakfast. 1 o'clock I am feeling hungry. What a pain this is, yaar. Did anyone say that? It's not comfortable, no? You ate at 8 o'clock and now you have to eat again at 1 o'clock, 1:30. No, Samji, I only have 2 meals a day. So you're comfortable? No, I'm not uncomfortable, but no. It's a discipline I've taken. Okay, fair enough. So, you don't complain about an uncomfortable sensation called hunger. Why? It's natural for you. In fact, you complain if you don't have hunger. Or you have excessive hunger. You had breakfast at 8 o'clock, by 10 o'clock you are hungry again. What is this? That's because whatever you eaten was too much of carbs. You had a sugar spike and then a sugar crash. That's why in spite of having had a good breakfast, you're feeling hungry. Anyway, that apart. If it was natural, you wouldn't even seek moksha. If the world was anadi anantam, then the world is real. If the world is real, your finitude is real. If your finitude is real, there is no moksha. How can moksha begin? No, let us say somehow it began. Then if moksha began, it has an end as well. It has an end as well. Why? Anything with a beginning will have an end. So people come and ask funny questions, Swamiji, when did you gain moksha? I didn't gain moksha. At some time I discovered that I was never bound. Bondage was a delusion. Initially it is presented as something you have to gain because it's kept as a purushartha, as a goal for you. Moksha is put as a purushartha because otherwise you will never, even though you have that urge, you will never discern it. A discerned urge and an urge which is not discerned are two different things. A discerned urge, at least you know what you are looking for, some idea you have. If it is undiscerned, it is only discomfort which you try to fulfill by some means or the other. Like a baby, when it's hungry, will cry. Why? It doesn't know what else to do. It is not discerned as hunger. It is discerned as discomfort. So you are not comfortable, you will cry. A little older kid will come and say, I am hungry. Why? Because now discerned. So same way, without discerning moksha, to discern that there is moksha, something called moksha, it is presented as a purushartha. And the means presented as jnanam, etc. And if jnanam is presented as a means, then you have to understand you are never bound. No? Moksha did not have a beginning. Your understanding had a beginning. Yeah, that we can say. And what is the understanding? I was an idiot to think of myself as being bound. Yeah, of course I was an idiot to think I was bound. So the whole question will come like this. World is real, there is no moksha. There is no search for moksha. In fact, the search for moksha itself is an indication that what you are experiencing is not real. Because the search for moksha is not like a desire for a job. A desire for a job is picked up one fine day. Social conditioning. You are educated and everyone has to make some money, therefore everyone goes and seeks a job. Social conditioning. So it's a desire. You picked it up. The desire for moksha is not like that. It's an urge in you. The urge is actually responsible for your evolution also. So this urge that's so natural to a human being itself is an indication that what you are experiencing is not real. Because the urge for moksha will not be there if the world was real and you are finite. There will be no moksha. There will only be wanting some experiences, taking care of practical things, food, clothing, shelter, etc. And some pleasure, pain, etc. Nothing more than that will be there. Fulfillment, etc. will be an unknown word. Yeah. Pleasure and pain may be there, maximum. So the whole thing shows Mithyatvam of the world. So the Mithyatvam of the world is a fact, not a concept. The concept is to take it as real. There was just an appearance. For this to be clear, I have to see myself as independent of the body and mind. So any sadhana that helps you see yourself as independent of body and mind is important on this journey. Otherwise, you'll remain verbal. You can study Vedanta for 20 years and still say yeah, you can present all the logical arguments. This first sign of discomfort, you fail. I am not saying you should be physically tough. Now, don't misunderstand this. And so, all of us have to be tough, strong men. No. It's that cribbing mind. Na? The cribbing mind shows you're taking it as real. Actual expression, it is hot. Yeah, it's hot. Reasonably hot for Bombay. Some 36 degrees. It's fine. Thank God it's not 42 degrees. Nagpur is 40 degrees, okay? So, in May, the ashram at Nagpur closes down. It's too hot, not enough water, so they closed down the ashram for 2 months. Power shortages are also there, so problematic. Factual. Not a healthy place to function. Fair enough. That's factual. But they're cribbing about it means you're taking it as too real. It's factual. So to step out of your comfort zone helps you handle that. The cribbing goes. So people go for moonlight walks. Try a moonlight walk once. Try it, na? Maja hai. You start liking it after some time. Yeah, Dr. Sunita Savla is here. Her staff will also point to her. Look, your Swamiji is walking up and down in this heat.
So Swamiji, that only you can do. That's crazy. You just walk anytime, anywhere. You just, in middle afternoon, 2 o'clock, you are running, not even walking.
Yeah, if I had to go and do some work, the heat is not going to stop me from doing my work. It's hot, yeah, it's hot. Who says it's not hot? Not that the heat doesn't affect me. I remember once, 2 years back or something, I had to knock off a class because I got a heat stroke. And my doctor got scared. He said, no, do a 2D echo and all, and everything was fine. No, with your age, you have to be careful. You're 70, so ठीक है बाबा कर लेगा कुछ नहीं है. The ideas, Mithyatvam, yaar, come on, don't crib about it, do what has to be done. Yeah. But you are too comfort oriented. That comfort orientation, being dependent on it. When you get dependent on your comforts, use your comfort, fine. Get dependent on it. Then to say I am different from the body, etc., is not possible. So that much, the tapas, stepping out of your comfort zone, etc., is necessary. Comfort zone in terms of your body, in terms of food, culture, etc., in terms of your mind, your emotional stability, etc. I'm unhappy about this. I want to get. Why do you want to get rid of unhappiness? Accept that unhappiness and be comfortable. Accept it. Accept that fear and be comfortable. Be afraid. I'm scared. Yeah. Learn to accept that fear. That's one of the ways of dealing with that fear. Accept that fear. Soldiers know it all the time. When you're facing bullets from the opposite side, only an idiot will not be scared. But you accept that fear and you do what you have to do. So, emotional level, unhappiness, very unhappy about things, what is happening, accept it, deal with it, witness it. You say, I'm the Sakshi, etc. No? Then witness it. No? Why don't you witness that and be comfortable with that? Samji, in meditation I am Sakshi. Huh? Meditation, everyone can be Sakshi. What about when you are suffering from pain, discomfort, emotional discomfort? When your ideas have been challenged and you are uncomfortable about it? Witness. Then Vedanta will work with you. Otherwise, you can be a scholar, all right. It won't be a fact of your life. Yeah. So work on that. Work on the understanding of Mithyatvam and work together. Fine. Therefore, mokshasya cha bhavishyati. Then there's a beautiful interpretation, paribhasha like, which we will see next class. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.